Hey everyone, and welcome. All around us, and I mean even inside of us right this second, there's this invisible world of constant change. You've got atoms rearranging, substances completely transforming, and that is the world of chemical reactions. Today, we're going to pull back that curtain and see how they literally power everything. So, to get us started, let me ask you this. Think about your body slowly, silently breaking down an apple you just ate. Now picture a roaring, crackling bonfire. They seem like polar opposites, right? But what could possibly connect these two things?
Believe it or not, the answer is that at their very core, they're the exact same type of process. They're both chemical reactions. They show this fundamental transformation of matter, whether it's happening quietly in our cells or exploding with energy out in the world.
Now, it is absolutely crucial to get the difference between a physical change and a chemical one. A physical change, that just alters the form, like ice melting into water. It looks different, but it's still H2O. But a chemical change, like that wood burning, creates entirely new stuff. Ash, smoke, carbon dioxide. The original wood, it's gone for good.
So what does that actually mean, a chemical change? Well, a chemical reaction is just the process where atoms get, reorganized. The key thing here is that you're not creating or destroying atoms. You're just shuffling them into brand new arrangements by breaking old chemical bonds and forming new ones. And how can you even tell if a reaction has happened? Well, you look for the clues. Seeing heat or light, like in our bonfire, that's a dead giveaway. But so is a sudden change in color, or seeing gas bubbles fizzing up, or even a solid suddenly appearing in a liquid. Those are all telltale signs.
To describe all these amazing transformations, chemists use a kind of special shorthand, the chemical equation. And honestly, it's super simple. You've got your starting ingredients on the left, an arrow, and then your final result on the right.
So, the stuff you start with, we call those reactants. And the new substances that are formed, those are the products. That little arrow in the middle just means yields or turns into. It's basically the signal that, hey, a transformation just happened here.
Okay. Now here's the one unbreakable rule that governs every single chemical reaction in the entire universe. It's the law of conservation of mass. All it means is that you have to end up with the same amount of stuff you started with. You can't just lose atoms along the way, and you can't magically create new ones out of thin air.
A properly balanced equation shows this law perfectly. Check this one out. It's basically what your cells are doing right now to get energy. If you actually count all the atoms, you'll find there are 6 carbon, 12 hydrogen, and 18 oxygen atoms on the left side. And guess what? You have the exact same number of each on the right side. See? Perfectly balanced.
So this brings up a really interesting question. If paper can burn and iron can rust, why isn't everything just reacting all the time? Why doesn't the paper in front of you just burst into flames right now? There's got to be some kind of barrier stopping it, right?
And there it is. It's called activation energy. The best way to think about it is like trying to push a huge boulder up a hill. You have to put in some effort, some energy just to get it to the top. Only then can it roll down the other side. Every single reaction has an energy hill it has to get over first. Now, once a reaction does get going, it can either release energy or absorb it. Exothermic reactions release energy. Think exo for exit. They feel hot, just like a fire. On the flip side, endothermic reactions absorb energy. Think endo for enter. They actually pull heat from whatever's around them, which is why they can feel cold to the touch. Pretty cool, huh?
All right, so let's bring this all back to biology. For living things like us, that activation energy hill, it's a huge problem. The reactions we need to do things like digest our food or build new cells or even just think, they would happen way, way too slowly on their own. The energy cost is just too high to keep us alive. So how does life solve this massive energy problem? With something called a catalyst. A catalyst is this amazing substance that basically lowers the activation energy hill. It doesn't change where the reaction starts or ends, it just makes it a whole lot easier to get it going in the first place.
Here's a fantastic way to picture it. If that activation energy is a giant mountain you have to climb over, a catalyst is like a tunnel that's been blasted straight through the mountain. You start and end in the exact same places, but the journey is way faster and takes way less effort. And in the world of biology, our catalysts have a special name: enzymes. These are special proteins, custom built by our bodies to act as nature's own catalysts. Their job is to speed up the essential reactions for life, sometimes by millions of times. And enzymes have some incredible superpowers. First, They are masters of specialization. One enzyme usually has just one specific job it does. Second, they are insanely fast. And third, just like a good tool, they don't get used up in the process. An enzyme can do its job over and over and over again.
So, how do they actually pull this off? Well, the classic way to think about it is the lock and key model. The reactant, which we call a substrate, is the key, and it fits perfectly into a very specific spot on the enzyme called the active site. That's the lock. Once it's in there, the enzyme does its magic, helps the reaction happen, and then releases the new products that frees it up to do the whole thing again. And listen, this is not some abstract thing happening in a textbook. As you're listening to me right now, trillions of enzymes are working inside you. They are breaking down your last meal, building new proteins, contracting your muscles. You are literally a walking, talking showcase of enzyme power. But if these enzymes are so perfect and so essential for everything we do, are they invincible? Is there anything that can get in their way and stop them from doing their critical jobs?
Turns out, yeah, there are a few things. First up is temperature. Too much heat can permanently change an enzyme's shape. It's kind of like how cooking an egg changes it forever. The lock gets broken. That's actually why a really high fever is so dangerous. Second, pH level. Enzymes are picky. They only work in a very narrow range of acid or base. And finally, things called inhibitors. These are other molecules that can get in there and literally block the active site so the real key can't fit.
Which brings us all the way back to our big question. How do enzymes make life possible? Well, they do it by lowering the energy cost of living. They build those tunnels through otherwise impossible energy mountains, allowing the incredibly fast and efficient chemistry that makes everything, from a single thought to a heartbeat, possible. They are the unsung heroes, the true sparks of life.